This week's episode is brought to you by Tabletop Backer Party on Facebook, which is the largest board game crowdfunding group on this side of the internet. Hello, fellow gamers. Welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhoundd and
DrGloryhogg.
He always has to do something. And hello to everybody in chat today. It looks like we have Alan and Sean. I saw Battlecry and Nathan. Thank you so much.
And Nathan and Dexter are watching.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It looks like, let's see here. I wonder if our computer is being crazy. Our computer is being a little bit crazy today. Apologies for that. I think, though, the audio and everything should be okay on this. I already reset my computer, so hopefully this wouldn't happen, but we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
But let's see here. We have Battlecry says hair flip. That's what DrGloryhogg does. Like every time. Gotta get those lush locks in there.
There you go.
And it looked like somebody had the day off. Battlecry had the day off. I hope you have a wonderful day off today. Fridays are the best days to take off. That's what I'm talking about.
3-day, 4-day weekends. 2 3-day weekends in a row, probably.
That's true, because you had Memorial Day, and then you also had this one.
Yeah, we think that the audio and the videos, we're not sure why. It happened at the very end of our 2-hour stream yesterday, and we reset the computer and everything, so I don't know what's going on. But, like, I'm not lagging now when I'm in the small window. Is it just the big window lags? No, it's not lagging now.
There's something going on with it. I'm not sure. I went ahead and reset the computer, but...
Just close your eyes every few minutes, and then just imagine it caught up.
The main part is the Kickstarter videos that we're going to be showing off today, okay? That's the important part on here. All right, we'll get started. We'll just get right into it. First up, we have Tiny Epic Pirates. This is for 1 to 4 pirates, buccaneers, roaming the seas. And this is going to last about 45 minutes, and this is another Tiny Epic series, so you're going to be getting a lot of game in a little box. This has a rondelle system built in where you're going to be choosing actions as you go around, and the actions actually are going to be changing for each person on those rondelle boards, which is really interesting. And you're going to be traveling the high seas, you're going to be taking out merchant ships, picking up lots of loot and burying that loot, and the Royal Navy also has the ability to come after you, and they have one expansion listed in this campaign, which I thought was really interesting as well. Because with the normal campaigns, you just have like the campaign, but they don't have expansions with them. Like, I think this is the first Tiny Epic Series one where I've seen the expansion that has been included with it. What do you think about this game, DrGloryhogg?
It's pirates, which I know is everyone's favorites.
Everyone's theme? Everyone's favorite theme?
That's everyone's favorite thing right now is pirates.
In chat, how many of you like the pirate theme? I want to know.
No, in chat, do you prefer pirates or Western themes?
No. I just want to know
question.
for pirates, okay?
Pirates or Westerns? Which one is more important to
What do
you?
you think about this?
So you always talk about how there's like tons of Western games and stuff, but I feel like we're really on a pirate kick right now. Like Zombies was a couple years ago. We're super high on pirates right now. Maybe that's because there was like Sea of Legends, Forgotten Waters, Tiny Epic Pirates. There's been other ones too that I'm not even thinking of.
They definitely go in spurts where it seems like a bunch of people come out with like Cthulhu themes, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of pirate themed games. And
Which
all of a sudden...
I can understand Cthulhu themed just because it's public work, so anybody can do it.
Hello, what was it?
How dare you, Ronnie?
Hello, Ronnie.
What about a pirate Western? They'd be probably too close to each other, I guess.
Ronnie, our next question is space pirates. What about space pirates?
No. No. So it is a pirate theme. Tiny Epic has always been good to us. This is the first thing that we've ever backed, and we've backed like every single one. I think we might have accidentally missed Tactics, which I'm blaming you on that one.
I'm really sad about that one because I really wanted to play that one.
Yeah.
Silver Liam says pirates.
So pirates are good. It's very interesting. I like the rondelle, which is something that I wasn't super familiar with at first, but I played it now in like Barrage, and I played it in Finca, and I know we talked about it in Glenmore too, had the rondelle, and I'm really liking the idea of rondelle. I know Freshwater Fly had the rondelle, and I haven't played all those games, but the more and more I see them, the more and more I get into that idea of the rondelle and the way you take your actions.
Well,
I think Coloma had rondelle.
Right.
Coloma, a Western game.
Aw, Ellen can't find their tiny epic galaxies. That's so sad. That's one of
Tiny epic gone.
That's one of my favorites right there. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely Tiny Epic Galaxy is definitely one of my favorites
and
too.
Ronnie says space pirates. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So like, if you don't like regular pirates, space pirates is the thing.
So there's a lot of good rondels out there. So I like the idea of the rondel action system. And then with this, I mean, you're getting to plunder, you're getting to bury treasure, hire crew, attack. I mean, you're getting to do like so many different really cool things. And then like when you hire a crew, they boost like what you do on your actions and give you like additional options. And you're trying to get like glory or fame. And there's a lot of really good things going on in this game.
I don't understand how Gamelyn Games continues to produce content that still feels fresh and new and still can be in such a tiny little box.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they always have, like, I keep on saying, oh man, like this is going to run out. Like they're not going to produce something as good as the last one, or they're going to have something going on with their content. But every single time I am always excited about what they have going on.
Well, it's like they pick like a genre and they attack that genre, or they pick like a different system, right? Like for the first few, we're all kind of very similar, where you're like, okay, I've got my little action bar here. I'm moving this little cube up here. I've got this many resources. I've got this many resources. You know, I can follow people. Like all those things felt kind of similar, like the actions in them. Even like when you get into Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, like, you know, it feels like a tiny epic game, but just like bigger, more fleshed out. When you get into this one, though, I mean, it's rondel system. It's just going to feel completely different.
So Nathan says, we can't find it. It's too tiny. That's why we can't find the tiny epic galaxy.
That's true. What was it there, like the ultra mega super tiny one that was like in a tin? They did a Kickstarter
tiny,
for that one. Yeah,
that's right. In a little tin-based
like super
game.
tiny epic.
It was so crazy.
It's too small. But I love tiny epic games. I mean, I always end up taking them with me everywhere I go because they're just a good one to take with you.
You get so much game at such a great price is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a little box. So it's easy to carry around with you. I'm not carrying this gigantic, Blood Rage box or something around.
Right. Like every time. It's so good. I don't know any other manufacturers that produce so much content in such a tiny box like that.
Yeah, unless it's like a card game or something.
Even then, this is like you have all little tiny pieces that go with it. Like, I don't know. They do such a good job. I never have anything super terrible to say about the Tiny Epic series. However,
there is a card game you should try out that's got a lot of stuff packed into this little small pack. It's called Magic the Gathering.
Oh gosh, I like Magic the Gathering.
You should check it out. There's a lot of replayability.
And the ships look amazing. We're actually going to be playing this on Sunday this week. So I'm excited to see where that goes because they have a lot of stuff going on in this game where the merchant ships, you actually put little resources on them and you can raid them and you can fight each other. Like there's so much going on. Ronnie says, I love tiny epic games, but I don't see a reason to back it on Kickstarter instead of getting it retail. That way you can watch the reviews and save the shipping costs. That's a fair thing to say. I think
they usually do like a little bit of upgrades though for Kickstarters. It's usually like $5 and you get like, more wooden components and stuff like that.
You do get extra Kickstarter stuff that they do end up putting in there where you end up, it always seems like they end up adding like different characters you can play and like there's little stuff like that.
Like this one definitely has the Flying Fortress or the Floating Fortress. It's got the Floating Fortress, the Crimson something. It's in here somewhere, but it's like a floating fortress that it adds to the game, and it adds like some new crew members. I think it was like nine more crew members, something like that. So that was just included because of Kickstarter, because obviously this one's doing very well.
Overall, I'm just like really lazy. I would rather pay the extra $5 to get it shipped to my house. So
that's fair.
I'm always super lazy with it.
Crimson Silver, that's what it is. It comes with it. It's down in there, but it gives you like extra stuff. And then,
okay.
And then this one has the Curse of Amadak, is how I'm going to say it.
That was the other thing. So let's get down to the curse stuff because.
See, this is the stuff that you get for doing the Kickstarter version.
The deluxe
Yeah,
version.
you're getting these floating fortresses. You're getting some solo pirate mats, some shiny cubes, and 6 deluxe crew cards, which are just different.
Which you can change all your crew members and stuff. So if you're interested in that, that would be a big portion of why you would go ahead and back this on the campaign right now. Now, I'm excited. Hold on. I'm excited about this right here, everyone. The Curse of Amadak, which, if you're a pirate, you always need like a cursed pirate ship chasing after you as you're going through.
Well, that's the best part about being a pirate is becoming cursed and becoming a skeleton. I would exploit that.
You want the skeleton exploitation?
Oh yeah, I would. If someone tried to stab you, and I'd be like, ha, skeleton, right through the ribs.
No, this is the first time I'm seeing them add an expansion directly on. I was talking to you about this a little bit.
Right, they usually will do like a separate Kickstarter for it or something.
Right, or it'll be like a small, okay, we'll get like this little expansion pack of cards or something like that. Or like with Tiny Epic Galaxies case, they had their expansion that they ran as a whole separate campaign. I was interested to see the Curse of Amadoc as a $10 upgrade on this. That was really, really interesting. That's something new that they're doing, and I'm not disappointed by it at all. Like, I 100% want crazy cursed cubes, and that's right, they look like gelatinous cubes. They do.
Well, this one's just really cool, too, because you're trying to get cursed gold while that pirate ship is chasing you. And if it gets you, you become cursed, and then you actually end up losing all your cursed gold, and you recruit a skeleton crew instead.
Hello, Kabuki Kid. How are you doing? The only question that I had with the cursed campaign was, would you be taking the Navy ship out and be putting the cursed pirate in? I wasn't for sure on that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on that either.
Kabuki says, "What's up, Doc?"
I feel like you need like a carrot or something while you're doing that. Hey, what's up, Doc?
That's like the perfect thing to say for you, Dr. Gloryhogg.
Bugs Bunny style.
That's right. Okay. So I'm down. I'm down with this. It's $25 for the base game, $30 for the deluxe game, which is worth the $5. You pay
And
$30.
10 for the expansion.
10 for the expansion.
So you do get to 40-ish bucks before shipping. So it does starts to get to be the price of like a bigger game. But realistically, these aren't bigger games, but they play like bigger games,
They
right?
really do play like bigger games. So again,
So sometimes I'm like, oh man, it's $40 for this small game, but then it's like, yeah, it's a 45-minute game, you know, or it's gonna take, you know, like over an hour, and it feels like you're playing a big game. Everything is small.
oh, absolutely. And the travel size on it, I usually end up taking one Tiny Epic game with me everywhere I go for any convention or anything like that. Like if I'm going to go ahead and play something, I end up bringing, okay, I'll take these little pocket games and this, that, and the other, but I always end up selecting one Tiny Epic game, 100%. So Nathan says the Curse Captain is really cute. That's what I'm talking about, right? And Alan says that would be pretty messed up coming from Tempe. On which part?
I think he's saying, like, did you end up in Perth Amboy on the way to Albuquerque?
Oh, okay. And then, let's see here. Kabuki says the funniest thing about Bugs Bunny was that Mel Blanc was allergic to carrots. Really? I didn't even realize that.
So you would chew them and spit them out just for the take.
That's hilarious. I had no idea. Kabuki is full of so much like super interesting information. I just want to sit down with Kabuki Kid like in person and talk about random stuff because I feel like Kabuki knows so much stuff.
Yeah, everywhere she goes, even the shower.
Even the
That's
shower.
right, Nathan. Shower games. Shower games. You can take time. Well, if it's pirates, your ship should flow, right? I don't know if they actually flow. That would be cool, though.
You couldn't play this in the shower, but you could certainly
too, with card sleeves.
You could certainly take a bath, and then you could have like the little pirate ships
like little
floating,
bath tray.
little floating pirate ships on the water, and then it'd be real life water.
You can get that fancy tray that they're always trying to sell on Facebook for the people who take like 8-hour baths, and they're like, here, bring your computer in the bath with you. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
This is certainly, aside from their big campaign of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, this is probably the most detailed with the figures that they've had in it.
Yeah.
Because usually they stay with like meeples and stuff like that.
Right.
And meeples that have screen printing and stuff like that on them. But
Right, but
these
this
are
one
going
comes
to be
with ships.
right, with actual ships that you can actually put cubes on and stuff. So I'm sold on this. I'm going to be backing this. It's not a surprise. I'm going to be backing this.
I know, like I was waiting for like dramatic pause. Like, what?
No, there's no dramatic pause.
You're
I'm
gonna
be
back
backing
this? That is shocking.
Dr. Gloryhougg, what do you think?
Yeah, I would actually back this. I'm interested to play the Ronda. And I mean, obviously, we're going to get to play it on Sunday, so I'll have an even more justified reason for purchasing it. But even though pirates aren't like my first go-to thing, I really like the idea of the Rondo action and all the different things you can do in the game.
All right.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of things to do.
Next up, we have Dawnshade.
The Watcher's Prophecy.
That's right. Dawnshade is for 1 to 4 players. It should last about 30 minutes per player on this. It is a cooperative game where you're going to be traveling through, and basically, like, this is a storytelling game. You're going to be traveling through, and you're going to be making decisions based upon the story, which are going to affect the things you do in the game on this, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, good news, Alan. There's a 2-hour playthrough we did yesterday for Dawnshade.
That's right. That's
so you
right.
could know a lot about it. A lot about it.
You could know all the things about it.
I felt like we were really cooking through it, too, and it still was about 2 hours.
I feel like we were booking through it, and then we got to, like, the battling portion, and that slowed it down maybe a little bit.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things, the more familiar you are with the game, of course, the faster those things typically go.
Absolutely.
If you're playing your third or fourth, campaign of it or whatever, you're just going to fly through it, or third or fourth version of it.
Now, with this one here, the box is hex-shaped. However, I believe they're producing a box that is not hex-shaped as well.
There's a square box you can get also.
A square box.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I actually had it out on the table, though, I did find a way to fit it on there in a reasonably good manner where, like, I got all the boards on there. Kabuki says their eyes are merely huge.
Yeah.
The actual characters or the Highborne Games Company?
The Pitikins? No, because Highborne Games Company didn't actually, their goal was only like 49,000.
No, I mean, with what they were doing with the game, they were doing so much stuff with this game. So, let's see here. From Alan saying, I don't know a whole lot about Dawnshade. You guys can go back and take a look at our playthrough of the game, but essentially, you're traveling on the map, and each of these different little I want to say squares, but they're not squares now, hexes, you're going to be doing something different with the game, which I thought was really interesting. So, Dr. Gloryhogg, what did you think about this game?
All right, so essentially you're playing as like a hobbit or willow or some kind of small, like, forest creature that gets involved in this big war between these two giant forces,
We designated them as hobbit cats or something,
hobbit
like
cats?
Flying hobbit cats.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea, right? Think of like, the movie Willow or, the Hobbit. They're these people that are usually not part of anything major. There's like forest creatures all of a sudden are like in the middle of this giant war, right? There's some kind of prophecy. And the prophecy is based off these Vaki, right? All these different magical elements like the sun, mountains, fire, water, those types of things, right? I will say the components in this prototype were amazing. We had the weighted chips and everything. All the different like stickers that were on the chips were like really nice, or I don't know if those were stickers, but they were like shiny. Everything on this, the component-wise, was really nice. And we had a mixed bag because we had mostly the deluxe ones, the $150 pledge ones.
Right.
Because we had like the weighted chips, but then there were some things that we had, like our Vaki and some of our other components that were cardboard that if you have the deluxe version would also be chips also.
Right.
Right. So and you'll still get regular chips with a lot of this or cardboard. If you want to spend the extra $50 and go to the 150, then you're going to get weighted chips for everything, basically.
So Sean says, this looked so good on the playthrough. Shipping put me off with those chips. That's completely understandable.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, though, even with, like, chip theory games and stuff. Like, their shipping is expensive because of the weight. I mean, you're literally buying weighted chips.
Oh, absolutely. So they're just going to be heavy. Absolutely. Nathan says, I was sold as ever, as I'm going to get after watching yesterday's playthrough. It's highly recommended watch for anyone who's considering backing. Oh, thank you, Nathan. We really appreciate that.
It's definitely a game, though. So it kind of reminds me of, you're going to like this game depending on the type of D&D player you are. So if you're a D&D player that's always like just looking for the next fight and exploration and wanting to get to the next cave and to the next part, I think this one might not necessarily work for you as well. But if you're the D&D player that likes to stop at a tavern, play some drinking games, or likes to set up a side business in a village, and gets like more detailed and involved in like in their individual character, I think it's more for that player. Does that make sense?
That 100% makes sense.
Because like for me, I'm always about like, I'll do all the side quests in a game, but I'm always about progressing the storyline. And I don't typically find myself in a lot of games where I'm just like customizing an area or super, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm always just kind of continue along with the story. I kind of want to know what's going to happen next. I like to go through D&D like a movie, like what's the next plot point? What am I doing next? Where am I going? What am I doing? What am I doing? More and more and more, right? This one is definitely all about the small things because you're going to get all your fun out of the little things like, because there's battles, but you're going to get a lot of your fun out of doing things like trying to roll your chips like through a pile of other chips, or doing like, dice betting games or card betting games. And that's where you're going to get a lot of your enjoyment out of this game, or flipping, your chips onto the board to get things. There's a lot of that on the battle board.
So Ronnie says, this game seems like Too Many Bones with less content, but for the same price with Too Many Bones, you know that you get the 8.5
Yeah,
BGG
Too Many Bones
game.
is really highly rated.
Absolutely. We had talked about that too, between us before we did the playthrough and everything with that game. Absolutely. We also thought about that, Ronnie. So this game, first off, I just want to say that I personally am not a dexterity game player for the most part, and I don't like fun in games.
That's not true.
So,
I mean, you can handle like a little bit of light ribbing, but you don't like, you tend to lean towards serious gameplay versus like kind of like comical
there are
gameplay.
two things I really loved in this game, and then there are like some things that I really disliked in this game, and that lines up directly with what type of gamer I am. I really enjoyed the combat in this game.
Yeah,
like,
I think the
really,
chip combat was cool, where you're like attacking, and I mean it's dice combat, which is, you know, dice combat still.
But you could still modify things as you went along. You had some items that you had and stuff, and like I never felt like I had a perilous fight against the dice in this game.
Okay, where you felt like it was just a dice roll and that's it. You felt like there's some things you could do.
Right. I like
being able to manipulate the dice after they're rolled more. I didn't feel like there was a lot of that. A lot of it was still very heavily dependent on your dice rolls.
I liked that it only lasted 5 rounds, so you didn't get that fatigue where you're going through and you're like, oh my god, these things won't die already. I like the feeling of the chips and actually seeing the stacks go down, so that there was a lot of fun there where you actually got to see things being removed from there. And I like the setup of the bad guys in that, and the fact that you looked over on the chip and you knew exactly the attack value, the defense value, how much HP they were going to have. You put your stack together. Like, it was very, very simple. I really enjoyed the combat system in this game.
I like that.
And what was the other thing I really liked? Oh my gosh, I got so distracted by the combat system. Well, that's part of the combat system.
Okay.
The fact that if you were missing your rolls, you get an overcharge ability, and then you're able to still make up for that somewhat.
What did you think about the overall, like, 200-page narrative book?
The 200-page narrative book, they had like a choose-your-own-adventure style system. There's been a lot of companies doing that lately, so I didn't see anything particularly new. Oh,
but you do typically like those type of things where it's like, oh, build a fire, go up into a tree,
right.
or
no, I like making
away.
choices.
Okay.
The other thing I really, really liked in this game was when we had not a skill check, but when we were trying to, what was it, on the bridge where we're unlocking something. We were unlocking some sort of ability, and we had to roll our piece through the unlock thing. Does that make sense? There was the 3 stacks of them there.
That was one of the mini dexterity games.
Yes.
That was the treasure trap.
The treasure trap. There you go. Thank you.
You liked that one.
The treasure trap. I really, really enjoyed the treasure trap, and I can see how that particular thing would work really well. Like, if you were trying to unlock a door, or if you were trying to spring a trap, or if you were... I really, really loved that particular mechanic in that game, where you had to get through it, because it added a little bit of dexterity to it. But after that, like, I didn't enjoy as much of the other part of the game, because every part of it was a different puzzle that you had to put together.
Like, it's a 6-sided board, and it does feel like you're playing 6 different games,
It
right?
does, it does.
Like, because there's some tile placement going on with where you're putting your exploration tiles. There's, managing your character, which is like then there's the RPG story going on, then there's the battle, and then there's like all the different mini games, which I think for me, I enjoyed the chips, right? And I enjoyed like the components, and I enjoyed the chip battle, seemed pretty good. Like I said, there were some things that I would do to modify the battle more for my liking, because I like where you can interact more with your battle than just rolling dice. I didn't enjoy the tile laying portion at all. It just seemed like kind of like a thing to do on the side.
Do the tiles over there, he said.
Yeah.
Dr. Gloryhougg told me.
And I think the dexterity game type things are all really going to be based off your group. I can see it working really well for a mixed group, like a family group, where you're trying to flip. Because I mean, there's ones where you're rolling dice and you're trying to get the dice to land in a certain sector to get bonuses, the modifiers of a +1 or a -1 or a 0. Like, that was fine. That's like playing tumbling dice. That was like a mini game. You could flip them onto things where you're actually just putting them on the edge of a stack, and then you're trying to flip it to land on something to get like an item or something. I think it 100% depends on if you like that style of thing in your game. And the overall narrative it was very much E for everyone.
So, and that's actually a really great point to bring up. So I want to go down some of our comments really quick. Okay, so Jim says, yep, no more shortcuts for you guys. Didn't end well. I totally agree, Jim. No more shortcuts.
Shortcuts are fine, Jim.
Sean says, shipping to the UK can cost nearly as much as the game. That is very sad. I'm very sorry to hear that. Kiefer says, I worry this game might be a little too fiddly with so many boards, dice, tokens. The playthrough video helped explain a huge amount of bits. Well, thank you so much. So
I will. Well, did you want to answer that or?
Well, I'm saying I think that this game would do really well with a full group, where you have a full group with each person that is managing a certain thing.
Okay.
As you go through the game. So you have each person, you know, you're going to go ahead and manage our Vaki board and where we're getting aligned and how well we're going to do with that. You're going to manage our map board over there. And not only would that kind of split up how everything's being done in the game, I just think it would play better with more players, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I think it does do better with more players.
Those dexterity games would be even more fun because you have more excitement when you're playing with more players doing that, you know? It's not like, oh, DrGloryhogg's just really good at rolling dice on the board. Like, that's just going to be the way it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I think it's going to do best in a mixed family group, you know, with kids and parents, or, you know, just mixed ages more than anything else. Mm-hmm. I think for just myself, if I was to be looking for like what game I'm going to play this Saturday, I would pass on Dawnshade personally.
Yeah.
Because it had a lot of fun things going on. It was, in my opinion, very fiddly. I didn't like that I had to constantly be looking at the book. It's fine to look at a narrative book. I didn't like having to constantly look up the book just to understand how each individual thing worked, because each tile was unique.
That was the other thing. I'm going to go ahead and talk to the to Highborne Games about this. All I want is like one cheat sheet of those tiles and what they do.
Of the tiles only?
If they just had one sheet that just said, okay, here's the different tiles and what they do, so like I could quickly go back and like remember.
Right.
And the XP that each of those tiles granted you, I think that would solve that fiddly bit of going through the book on that. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to the publisher on that. But yeah, I think that was the only like drawback with that particular thing.
I felt like we spent a lot of time in the books. Now, obviously, I had the narrative book, so that's fine. Like I said, the narrative book is 100% fine. I've seen games that are similar that have different implementations that I've enjoyed more, like where they have that app where you push on the thing and you say, oh, are you going to do A, B, or C? And then it like will read what's happening.
Yeah,
obviously that's an expense.
I was going to say, that's the problem, is you get into where this year there's been so many Kickstarter games that have that narrative ability, or not even just Kickstarter
with like
games.
an app.
Yeah, and then because you have Frosthaven, you have Forgotten Waters that just came out. I mean, you have these huge big box games that are doing that narrative portion. Tainted Grail just came out this year, and it is so hard to compete with that. So hard to compete with that when you have 5 different games out there that have the same sort of narrative ability. They're all doing it a little differently and stuff. And then it just becomes like ability. And like choose your own adventure. Adventures in Neverland. That's right.
There's a lot less narrative in something like Forgotten Waters, but being able to have the app play it and have that very tongue-in-cheek piratey thing where it's like, well, I guess I lost my barnacles, and you're like kind of like, oh, you're kind of giggling along with it. It kept it light, but I never felt like it was geared just exclusively for kids. I feel like this one's definitely more, like I said, it's family weight, but like you couldn't just let your kids play this because there's too much going on.
Okay,
like,
that's
I don't know if like
that's fair.
It's almost like you need someone to be like kind of like that designated DM that understands the vast majority of the game, and then everybody else can kind of ride along and play. Yeah. And that might be more fun if you're trying to ride along and play. For us, trying to learn it in a day and immediately bring it to the table and everything, and then having to try to like both of us have to remember how everything works so that we could try to catch each other as much as possible with prototype rules and everything else, made it a little bit more difficult to manage all the different things.
So Jim says, it seems like there's a lot of different mechanics that aren't gelling together as well as they could. And I think that's just because of the unfamiliarity with it. Again, if you had a DM that went through and knew what everything was, it would play very, very quick and very simple because they're not hard things to learn in there, and they're not hard to set up and make happen for the game. Like, it's not like you're constantly setting up things and taking it apart. Like, it's very quick. They did a really good job with making that portion streamlined. I think it's just a matter of, like, do you want to play a whole bunch of different games in your story setting, which makes sense as you go along.
Yeah, they make sense what you're doing in everything.
Right, absolutely, or not. I just think that there's definitely strong portions that I enjoyed, and then there's portions that I didn't enjoy as much because of the type of gamer that I am.
Right, I think we lean more towards the side of like a Reichbusters or a Grimdark than we do.
And those are the
kind
parts,
of like the jolly part.
Those are the parts that I enjoyed about the game. So Those parts I really, really enjoyed about the game.
Like the battling and stuff?
Yeah, like the battling and stuff, and having that check whenever you came in and stuff. And the story wasn't bad. It was good story and everything.
Well, like
that was fun.
In that 2 hours, we did 2 battles. Like, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I just
I
felt
wanted
like
more battling.
it felt like that was just too long for me to get to like an actual thing where I feel like I'm doing something. Now you got to do 2 events where we got to decide things, and those caused different things to happen, like different dexterity games and everything. But I just felt like there was like long periods of time in between, and part of that might be the unfamiliarity of the game. But I think if I was to have to decide if I'm going to put $100 on this or something else this week, I just wouldn't.
It's hard. It's a tough choice. I do like the battling system, but I wish I had more time with this game. Because there's other cool stuff that could have happened. We could have gotten these crazy cogbot mechs and like all sorts of craziness in this game. If you're ready for some crazy shenanigans in a game, like this is it, Sorry, is it me or has the focus gone? Sorry, we're like I'm still on the debating portion of this game. It just shows, Sean.
They're talking about our camera potentially too.
Oh, I don't know.
But I think that's just because the internet's being weird.
Yeah, the internet is being weird right now.
So overall, though, because you always ask, would you back it or not? I've said that I personally would not, based off of it. I think it's got a lot of appeal for a lot of different people. It kind of feels like something in between, like a Mice and Mystics and like a Seventh Continent, right? Like where you've got like more adult storytelling versus kind of a kid storytelling. It's kind of like in that middle, where it doesn't have like a lot of adult content, but you definitely need an adult there to help manage all the different parts.
Right.
And there's just not a spot for me right there. There's not a spot for us there right now because like our kids kind of past the point where they want to play Mice and Mystics. She's already playing Seventh Continent. So I just don't feel like our particular family group has a spot for this game.
All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on here.
Would you back yes or no?
I'm undecided. Undecided.
Okay.
Right now I'm gonna say no because everyone, we have a War of Whispers. This is by Starling Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. It should last about 30 to 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they compared this here to one of my favorite games, which is the Game of Thrones second edition game, which it's in my top 5. That's one of my top 5 games. It's so good.
It's one of the few area control games that I just love, and I don't know if it's the lore behind it or and there's not like lore in the game, it's just lore from the world.
You're going to be spending an entire day's worth of time on that game.
Yeah, I think we did it once. The shortest time was like 2 hours, and that was with everybody learning it. But also, as I've been known to say, me and my buddy John, he was running like the Greyjoys fighting, and I was running the Starks, and so I built up, and then he ended up basically carving out a middle and then just let me go through, like by taking over his area. So we were able to do a shake and bake where he was like basically decimated, and I was just able to walk through his lands with his permission and take out like 1 or 2 extra, capitals or whatever it was to trigger the endgame and win.
So Alan says, I like the mechanism of indirect area control. So this is actually an expansion or a reprint on this, which we don't really do much. Now, this has excellent ratings on BGG just for the base game. Mm-hmm. With this particular one, you're getting an expansion, which if you have the base game, you can get the expansion for $7,
yeah,
which is
super
nice.
Cheap. It's just some cards.
Which are going to give you cards that give you more player interaction in this game. However, Silver Liam says, already back, so excited. I think the big part of this is the deluxe edition that they've launched on here.
The collector's edition.
Yes, collector's edition, where you can get all of the components on here that are just like so gorgeous looking. Like, hopefully I'll scroll down to him here and you'll be able to see him here soon. Now, I have to say, I'm already 100% on this game. This game looks amazing. It has all the stuff that I want. It has an area control aspect to the game. However, you are not necessarily, exactly, it's an indirect area control. You are not necessarily taking out people's actual forces on there. You're just kind of almost like betting on those. Like, hopefully these ones over here will win because that's where I'm going to get the most points. And then you're trying to like maneuver things in the game to make that outcome happen.
Right, you're the shadowy figure in the background helping to manipulate the different armies by doing things like convincing them that there's a great threat coming over there so an army might retreat, which there's no threat, you're lying. Or by convincing them to attack these people by saying, did you hear what he said about your mother? And then they attack them. You're doing all that secret behind the shadows type of stuff where you're manipulating like a little puppet master. And I think that's a really cool way to play area control. And a really good review of it was Shut Up and Sit Down. They did a really good review of it, and that's what initially turned me on to it. I don't watch a lot of board game media stuff, but I caught that one, and I was like, wow, this seems really, really interesting. You get to play as that spy master, and it's not about like having, you know, you're going to have one army that you want to win, one army you want to get decimated, another army you want to be basically second place, one you don't care about, and then one that you want to be like third place, right? And you really have to manipulate that, and you win off of that second and third, right? You don't win off of having that decimated army, because we might both want one army decimated, or you might not care about that one. We probably won't both win off of the major army to win, because we might end up on the same team on that one. But it's the second and third armies that, if those little tokens are switched, that what's going to be where all the action's happening. And there's just so many rings and layers upon layers that's in this game.
So we have Nathan says, I want to see Gloryhound and DrGloryhogg do a top 10 favorites. We may have to do that with our top 10 favorite Kickstarters.
We've done top 3s before. We did those with Greg. We did like 2 or 3 of those episodes, I think, at one point.
We also have, let's see here, Alan says, Shut Up and Sit Down did a great job on this one. I totally agree. Ronnie says, I think the collector's edition is a must with this one. The minis of the buildings increase readability, and there are actually 20 more gameplay cards as well. So let's see here. Kabuki Kid says, I find Shut Up and Sit Down amusing to watch, but I find that I'm so often the opposite opinion of them. Oh, that's really interesting. So then you actually go opposite of their opinions for that.
Is Shut Up and Sit Down Dice Tower affiliates?
No, they are not. I don't think they are, Alan. Are they?
I honestly don't know. To be perfectly clear, I don't really watch a lot of board game media unless it's specifically about like watching gameplay or of a Kickstarter. That's what I mostly consume is, you know, either how to plays or gameplay. Like I watch how to play, so like we get a lot of Rodney Smith, of course, because I like learning visually. And then I watch the ones where people are actually playing the gameplay so that I can kind of figure out what's going on with the different things.
Yeah, that's 100% true. The sort of media content that I watch is just gameplay videos.
Alan's saying that we're Dice Tower affiliates. In a way, contributors and top 10 lists. Right? I get what you're saying. Yeah, we're more contributors, right? So they ask us for a segment. She provides a segment for the show.
So, dang it. I think I lost my point that I was going to make. Oh my gosh, I got too involved in everything. I don't remember what I was going to say. I'm excited about this, though.
Yeah, this is a game that like 100% missed my radar, and then I saw the Shut Up and Sit Down on it, watched it, and I was just like, okay, because if I can play a Game of Thrones type area control game in like an hour-ish, that seems super appealing, and there's so many cool things you can do. What this Dark Alliance does, so besides all the really cool collector's edition stuff, the Dark Alliance does is it has cards that says like, let me take your turn, but then I have to like lose something valuable, right, in order for that to happen. And she's got to agree to it. And then there's other cards that say like, you can, you know, I'll give you 4 extra armies wherever you want, but then I get to do something else, like take one of your tokens off the board or something, which is a very dramatically swingy play. So there's like, it adds a way to have more direct player interaction. Where you're like, hey, I'll give you this, but you got to give me this, or you'll give me this, but I'll lose this. And there's a lot more play that way, I think. Yeah, no, there is no solo mode in this one. And it's definitely going to play different between 2, 3, and 4 players. It does seem like it might play better with more, because you're going to fill up more of that outer board, which is how many different actions you get to take. But it just seems, overall, it just seems super interesting. Like, just the overall concept of getting to play a Spy Master seems really cool to me.
I think one of the really important interactions here is the fact that you do have interactions happening on the board, but you do have less of a distraught feeling of like, oh no, you took out all my troops and now like I'm completely off the board and now I can't win. Thanks.
The same way.
Yeah, exactly. You're not directly inflicting that damage upon anybody.
Yeah, it's all happening on the board.
You always have the ability to change your alliance basically in the game. So if you just have a really, really poor advantage in the game, you can always change that and be like, you know what? Yeah, those guys are jerks. Get rid of them. I'm going to go over here and help this.
Yeah, the idea of who you're backing, right? Like, say you're backing the bear, and then, like, the bear starts to do really badly, starts to get decimated, and then you're like, you know what? Actually, I really like the lions. And then, like, you're pro-lion them, and you tell everybody, you, like, publicly announce, like, yeah, I'm actually pro-lion, and I was voting for the lions the whole time. And you're really just trying to, like, manipulate these small little things and make these big impacts. And you're going to win by a point or two, which is always really interesting.
It's a really interesting catch-up mechanic with
Those
that.
are not her fingers in the gift.
No.
That would be funny, though.
That would be really funny.
She's got a different ring, I can promise you that.
I have to say that this is my pick of the week. This is my pick of the week, everyone. I usually don't go into expansions and reprints and stuff a whole
Right.
bunch. But this one here, I was pleasantly surprised by. And plus, this does... I feel like this makes it Kickstarter-esque, where you're getting all those little pieces with it.
Otherwise,
you know?
you're getting cubes.
Right, exactly, which I'm not a huge fan of just pushing cubes around a board.
It can be kind of boring. I mean, there's a reason why we got like the Goblin Meeples for the Goblin King of Zangers, because we didn't want to have just cubes.
Yeah, we paid extra for those little Goblin Meeples on that because, specifically, I still like theme in my game.
Right.
Although I will play a game with just cubes on there, and I'll be excited about playing it. Overall, I feel like in this day and age, you have to have theme built behind it because people are looking for that excitement.
They want more immersion in their games.
Exactly. They want a really immersive game. Like, not every company is going to be able to bring that to everybody all at once, but it's nice to see them come back and produce that for this game because it's going to make it more exciting. More people are going to play it. It's going to look better out there where people aren't going to walk by and be like, oh, that's another cube pushing game with people just doing stuff on a board.
Right.
And like, it's going to make it, oh, look at all those banners out there. That looks exciting. Like, what are you playing? It brings more people to your table.
Plus, this is the company that made Everdell.
It gets more people to play your game.
So, like, I really enjoy Everdell. That's what's one of my favorites. I really enjoy that game. But if I can play, like I said, this big Game of Thrones-esque type game in like an hour or so, that seems like super appealing. I can convince people in that. The biggest problem we've had with Game of Thrones is we've got like all the stuff. I just can't convince people to come over and play a game for multiple hours all the time.
Absolutely. So Jim says, on my radar now, I will be watching the Shut Up and Sit Down playthrough. Thanks,
Or
Cat
sit down and
Dog.
shut up, whatever it is. It's one of the two. They either shut up first or they sit down first.
What did I say? Did I say shut up?
Well, I don't know if they sit down first or they shut up first. They do one or the other, though. They either shut up and sit down or they sit down and shut up. I think it's
you have
shut
to
up and sit down. It's shut up and no, it's shut up and sit down.
You should probably sit down and then you
and then sit down.
And then you should shut up. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's shut up then sit down.
I think overall I'm sitting down and then I'm going to go ahead and shut up. If it's me personally at a table.
The idea is you're like, shut up. We're playing this game. Sit down. See, it is shut up, sit down. Boom. It's shut up and sit down. Like, hush your butt, sit your butt down.
Oh my goodness. All right, everyone, what is your pick of the week? We got some exciting Kickstarters that are out.
I know Tiny Epic, and then this one, War of Whispers. The reason why I put it on the list is because I was so excited about it. So when it came out with like a collector's edition plus a little mini expansion, I was like, yeah.
Also, I believe that, what was it? Nemesis just dropped as well.
Yeah, on like
Which
Thursday.
is another expansion / reprint.
No, it's a solo. It's an expansion. It's a standalone game.
Right.
Plus, you can get the original game.
Right.
So the new one that's out is not like just an expansion. It's a standalone game by itself.
Right. But what I'm saying is they're also reprinting it though. They're also
right. Well, they just add the reprint on the other one.
Oh, okay.
As long as the game is standalone, usually. So typically, it's got to be either a standalone game, or it's got to be like some kind of special reprint, like a collector's edition only on Kickstarter type of thing. Or it's got to be, of course, its own new game. Or if it's just something we're really interested in.
Not really intrigued by Nemesis. So overall, Nemesis was on my radar. That was one of the ones that I wanted to back, and I didn't get a chance to.
There's so much hype around Nemesis that we didn't get a chance to back it, and so I don't know if we can pass again.
I don't think we're going to be able to pass again.
We got to figure out how to make
the
money work, though. I keep rubbing my dollars together, and they have not produced any baby dollars, so.
No baby dollars for you?
Come on. Have babies.
No baby dollars for you. Okay, well, I mean, that's sad.
I don't know if they took the shut up and sit down thing from Howard Stern. Is Howard Stern that big, like in other countries? Because I'm pretty sure they're from Britain.
That's a good question. So Ronnie says, I'm already all in on Nemesis, and they actually dropped on like a Thursday, so I was like, what the heck? That's not normal.
Yeah, you have to do it on Tuesday.
Kiefer says, yep, Nemesis is putting a giant dent in my Kickstarter budget.
Yeah.
I don't even think we talked about the War of Whispers cost. It's $7 for the expansion.
$40 for the base game plus the expansion. And then it's $75 for the collectors.
Right, that's right. So, I mean, already this week, I'm already down for the collectors. Yeah. And then we are going to have Nemesis on top of that. Oh my gosh.
That's fair. I could see why you'd want to play it the first time before. I think the only thing about Nemesis, and I haven't done a bunch of research on it, is I have a feeling it plays better with more players. And so, which is fine, but we like to find games that also work really well too, because I mean, who knows how long this COVID thing's going to go on and stuff. We're not out playing with other players. It's just the two of us. If it doesn't shine at 2, then
we're 2 to 3 right now. That's
yeah,
all we got right now, 2 to 3.
A lot of times we won't play 3 on camera because, you know, our kid is young.
Oh, no, absolutely, absolutely. That'll be later. Well, thank you for everybody that joined us today. We had, well, hello, Aussie Solo Gamer. I didn't see you sneak in. Jeez.
Fujikoro, Margraves of Valeria, and Role Player Expansion. That's a lot of good stuff, Alan.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm trying to think of what we have coming in. There's a lot of stuff I want to be in, but...
Fujikoro, I got to see at Gamma, like the full setup and everything in person. That looks so good. It looks amazing. What else?
I don't think I was sold on Fujikoro.
Really? Well, if anybody wants to stay tuned, on Sunday we're going to be playing Tiny Epic Pirates.
Yeah, so you can actually see what it looks like.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about that. If you guys missed out on our Dawnshade preview playthrough, then that you can go look at right now. It is up. We're also going to be doing, per everyone's request, a tech question Q&A. So how do we stream board games? What are we using? We're going to be bringing that to you guys. We're going to be answering questions live. So anything you feel free to ask me on, like, you just come to our live show.
All the tech questions.
All the tech questions.
What camera are you using?
I'm going to get them out of the way so I don't have to see them in chat all the time, because everybody, it seems like every stream, we get somebody asking, oh, what sort of camera are you using? What's this? And there's like, it's a big question. You can't just ask somebody about their camera. You just can't ask about their camera.
Business.
It is. It's special. It's private.
No,
There's usually a story behind it.
It just deserves its own chat, honestly. It just deserves its own video.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, I mean, someone who wants to know is going to have to, like, find the random parts out of, you know, the 800 Kickstarter shows we've done to try to figure out, like, what the whole building thing is.
And I don't want to interrupt our playtime with you guys out there with people asking those sort of questions, so I'm just nipping it in the bud. We're going to go and get all of our techie questions all ironed out.
Our cat is a Russian blue to rescue. So it might be mixed, but it's a Russian blue.
She's probably a mix, but she is highly blue. Highly blue.
And I don't know about, so she got me the super awesome Borderlands, and we got it because it's a co-op game that we can play together, but we just haven't dived into it yet.
The newest one.
Yeah, Borderlands 3. Well, it's not even new now. It's been months and months.
I guess so. We started
Which
a little
happens
bit.
occasionally.
Are pants optional?
For the tech thing, yes. I'm not wearing pants currently. I'm wearing shorts, see? Shorts.
You're giving them a preview of your pants.
It's the shorts. They're basketball shorts for all the times I play basketball.
Oh, what have we been playing lately? What one have you been playing? What's the game?
I've been playing Days Gone.
Days Gone.
Yeah, on PlayStation 4.
And I've been watching DrGloryhogg play Days Gone while making an awesome
I almost
village.
want to do a review on Days Gone because it's like a whole thing where, like, a lot of people didn't like that video game, but I have actually really enjoyed it. I got freaked out yesterday because, like, an undead panther thing, I was riding my bike and I stopped to save and it just, boom, knocks me off my bike and I'm like, oh God! And I have to, like, roll up and get up and try to, like, kill this panther. It was intense.
That's the real reason I'm watching you, just to get all the like mini jump scares that I see you get all the time.
It happens, man. When you're running away from, like, 500 zombies, like, it's intense. I don't care what kind of machine gun you have. It's scary. You're just like...
Ronnie, we're going to have to ask you to donate to our Ko-Fi for that knee, because we did get to see DrGloryhogg's knee, so...
Yeah, you have to... The first taste is free. If you want to see more knee, though...
Any more, you got to go to our Ko-Fi account and donate on that.
I really enjoy Days Gone. It's got a lot of things working for it that I enjoy. It's not the best... Like, Last of Us storyline is way better. But as far as actual gameplay and some of the things that they bring in that you don't normally see in zombie-type games, I really enjoy it.
And real question, what kind of pizza works best in the shower? I'm going to say...
Any combination pizza.
Well, no.
Multiple toppings.
No, not...
The works.
You don't want multiple toppings. Just a plain cheese works best because you get less stuff falling out into your shower.
And not really hot. You kind of want it to be almost day old.
You do want it to lukewarm, and you want to be able to fold it. So you want the slice big enough so you can fold it into your sandwich.
Not like New York hot
pizza.
where, like, the cheese is going to slide off of it or something. That's too much.
You don't want to do that. Well, thank you, everybody who joined us today.
I recommend taking pretzels into the shower.
No, pretzels get soggy. You don't take pretzels into the shower.
So will pizza if you get it wet.
I'm talking, no, because you have to have like a bowl for pretzels and stuff. And what if you want cheese with your pretzels?
Some in my hand. I don't.
No.
I recommend pistachios. Just throw a bunch in your mouth and go in there and just spit the seeds out on the ground. They'll wash away, or it won't.
All right, everyone. So make sure to join us for our tech chat at 6 p.m. today, or at 6 Mountain Standard Time. We also have our Tiny Epic Pirates on Sunday. And We will bring you more content next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to all of you later. Bye.